If you're over 50 and you're thinking this video about getting hard for round 2 doesn't apply to you because honestly, you're still struggling with round 1, I need you to keep watching because what I'm about to share works for both. Whether you're having trouble with your first erection or you want to go again after finishing, the science and the solutions are connected. I'm Dr. Claire Whitman. I've been a urologist here in Canada for over 20 years, and in the next bit of time together, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening in your body and what you can do about it. Let me be straight with you. This isn't just about performance, it's about understanding your body, knowing that what you're experiencing isn't some personal failure or irreversible decline. I've sat across from thousands of men in my practice, from Vancouver to Halifax, and I can tell you that what you're going through is normal, it's common, and more importantly, it's manageable. Now, I want to talk about something that concerns so many men, but hardly anyone discusses openly. How do you get your penis hard again for a second round? How do you maintain reliable intimate performance beyond just that first erection? Maybe you've noticed this in your own life, or perhaps you've heard it from a friend you trust. After that first intimate encounter, the erection disappears, the desire drops off, and getting firm again to continue seems like an almost impossible challenge. For many men, this becomes a source of frustration, embarrassment, and even fear about losing their partner's confidence. What I need you to understand right from the start is that this isn't your body being difficult or some inevitable failure. There are very clear medical explanations for this, and most importantly, there are proven strategies that can help a man get firm and ready for a second encounter, even at advanced ages. I'm going to guide you step by step, from the physiology that explains what's occurring in your body to the most effective solutions you can start applying right away. This isn't about miracles or quick fixes, but rather about changes and techniques that will make your body respond the way you want it to, time and time again. Before we go further, let me share something from my practice. Last year, a patient I'll call Robert came to see me. He was 58, retired from working at one of the auto plants in Ontario, and he was genuinely worried. He told me, "Dr. Whitman, I can barely manage once anymore. My wife is understanding, but I feel like I'm letting her down." We worked through the program I'm about to share with you, and 2 months later, he came back for his follow-up. The change in his demeanor was remarkable. He didn't need to say much. The confidence was back. That's what understanding your body can do, understanding the refractory period. The first thing we need to clarify is this concept of the refractory period. This is the amount of time that passes between ejaculation and the possibility of having another erection. In younger men, this period is usually short, sometimes just minutes, which allows them to resume activity quickly. But with age, this interval gets longer. It can last from several tens of minutes to hours, and in some cases, even days. Why does this happen? Because after ejaculation, your body enters a state of physiological recovery. Dopamine, which is closely related to desire and pleasure, drops off. Meanwhile, prolactin increases, which creates a feeling of sexual satisfaction and diminishes the erotic impulse. On top of that, the blood vessels in your penis take time to respond to stimulation again, because the relaxation of the smooth muscles that was necessary for your first erection needs a recovery period. Understanding this is crucial. It's not that your body is damaged or that you've lost your potency. It's that your biological mechanisms have different rhythms as you get older. However, it absolutely is possible to optimize these times and achieve firmness for a second round with discipline and knowledge. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and this is something I wish more doctors would explain to their patients. That refractory period isn't set in stone. Think of it like your recovery time at the gym. When you first start working out, you're sore for days, but as you train consistently, your recovery gets faster. Your intimate performance works similarly. Factors that influence recovery. There are several factors that lengthen or shorten the refractory period. Age is obviously one of them. The more years you have, the harder it becomes to get erect quickly again. Your physical condition matters enormously. A trained body responds better to the circulatory demands that an erection requires. Vascular health plays a huge role. Healthy arteries allow blood to flow quickly and firmly to the penis. Hormonal balance is critical. Low testosterone levels can prolong recovery time significantly. and your mental state cannot be ignored. Anxiety, fear of failure, and emotional tension block the natural mechanisms of erection. All of this means that the second round doesn't depend only on your desire. It's a combination of your physical state, your intimate health, and your mind. And that's where the strategies I'm teaching you today come in. Let me give you some real numbers here, because I think it helps to know you're not alone. Studies show that about 60% of men over 50 experience some difficulty with their refractory period. That's not a small number. That's most of us. And in my practice here in Canada, I'd say it's even higher when you factor in our long winters, which can affect vitamin D levels and mood, both of which impact sexual function. Physical exercise is a natural enhancer. Exercise is the foundation of any plan to improve sexual performance. When you train regularly, your circulation improves, your heart pumps more efficiently, and blood flows more powerfully to your penis. This doesn't just facilitate the first erection, it reduces the time you need to achieve the second one. The most recommended exercises are cardiovascular ones like walking, running, or swimming. These strengthen your arteries and improve vascular elasticity. Strength training is also excellent because it helps increase testosterone levels and keeps your pelvic muscles active. These muscles, especially the pubococcygeus, are directly related to rigidity and the ability to maintain an erection during the act. A man who dedicates at least 30 minutes daily to exercise has a much better chance of regaining firmness quickly than someone who's sedentary. This is a proven medical fact. And look, I get it. If you're in Winnipeg in February, going for a run outside isn't exactly appealing. But even walking in a shopping mall, using a stationary bike at home, or doing bodyweight exercises in your living room counts. The point is movement, consistency, and getting your heart rate up. Here's a practical suggestion. Start with what I call the morning movement routine. Right after you wake up, before your coffee, do 10 minutes of activity. It could be stretching, walking around your house, doing some squats. This gets your blood flowing and sets the tone for your entire day. Your body will thank you, and so will your intimate life. The importance of nutrition. Your diet determines in large part how your penis responds. Foods rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals help blood flow with less resistance and help tissues recover faster after ejaculation. Some key foods I recommend to my patients include fruits rich in citrulline and arginine, like watermelon, which promote the production of nitric oxide. This molecule is fundamental for erection. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel are loaded with omega-3s, which protect your arteries and facilitate circulation. Nuts, especially walnuts, contain healthy fats and improve endothelial function. And leafy green vegetables like spinach provide natural nitrates that are essential for dilating blood vessels. When your diet is deficient in these nutrients, your body takes much longer to send quality blood to the penis after that first encounter. And the second round becomes difficult or even impossible. Let me be specific about portions here, because I know when doctors say eat more fish, people wonder how much. Aim for fatty fish twice a week, about the size of your palm, a handful of walnuts daily, leafy greens with at least one meal, and watermelon when it's in season, though I know that's trickier here in Canada outside summer months. The point is, these aren't massive changes. They're adjustments you can make starting today. One of my patients, a gentleman from Saskatchewan, told me he started having a spinach smoothie every morning with some walnuts blended in. He said it tasted terrible at first, but he got used to it. 3 weeks later, he noticed a difference, not just in his intimate life, but in his energy levels overall. Good nutrition doesn't just help your penis, it helps everything. Rest and stress management. One of the silent enemies of erection is stress. When your body is in alert mode, it releases cortisol and adrenaline. These two hormones block sexual response. Even if your desire is strong, your sympathetic nervous system prevents blood vessels from dilating, and therefore blood can't enter your penis with force. Moreover, if you don't sleep enough, your testosterone drops, and with it, your ability to achieve quick erections. A man who sleeps less than 6 hours nightly has much lower intimate performance than one who respects his rest cycles. That's why part of the secret to achieving a reliable second round is learning to relax, control anxiety, and let your body recharge. Techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or simply creating an intimate environment without pressure can make all the difference. I always tell my patients, if you're stressed about your taxes, worried about your kids, or anxious about work, your body isn't going to prioritize getting an erection. Your survival brain kicks in and says, not now, we've got bigger problems. You need to create space mentally and emotionally for intimacy. Here in Canada, we're lucky to have beautiful natural spaces. I often recommend to patients that they spend time outdoors, even just sitting by a lake or walking through a park. Nature has a way of reducing cortisol levels naturally. And honestly, some of the best advice I can give for stress management is to find what works for you. Maybe it's hockey, maybe it's fishing, maybe it's just sitting quietly with a cup of tea. Whatever helps you unwind, make it a priority. Mental stimulation and foreplay. Another aspect many men overlook is that the second round depends largely on mental stimulation. Unlike the first, which is usually charged with accumulated desire, the second requires more work in terms of arousal. Prolonged foreplay, physical contact, open communication with your partner, and appropriate erotic stimulation help the brain release dopamine and activate the sexual response again. Remember, your penis doesn't work just as a muscle. It's part of a neurological circuit that starts in your mind. If you rely only on that initial impulse and don't dedicate time to recreating the excitement, the second round becomes unlikely. This is where communication becomes absolutely vital. Talk to your partner. I know, it feels awkward sometimes, but saying something like, I need a bit more time, but I really want to continue with you, can take so much pressure off. Your partner probably appreciates the honesty more than you realize. And working together to build arousal again, that's intimacy. That's connection. That's what makes the second round not just physically possible, but emotionally satisfying too. The power of the pelvic floor. A very powerful piece of advice I offer my patients is to train the pelvic floor. The muscles surrounding the base of your penis are responsible for rigidity and ejaculation control. When these muscles are strengthened, you not only maintain your first erection with more firmness, but you recover tone much faster for the second attempt. Kegel exercises, which involve contracting the muscles as if you're trying to stop the flow of urine, performed daily, increase intimate stamina, and allow you to enjoy noticeably superior performance. Let me walk you through this specifically because I find a lot of men aren't sure they're doing it right. First, identify the muscle. Next time you're urinating, try to stop the flow midstream. That squeezing sensation, that's your pelvic floor muscle. Now, don't actually do the exercises while urinating. That's just to find the muscle. Once you've identified it, here's your routine. Contract the muscle and hold for 5 seconds. Release for 5 seconds. That's 1 repetition. Do 10 repetitions. That's 1 set. Aim for 3 sets per day. You can do this anywhere. Sitting at your desk, driving, watching TV. Nobody knows you're doing it. After 2 weeks, increase the hold time to 8 seconds. After a month, aim for 10 seconds. The results aren't immediate, and that's important to understand. This isn't like taking a pill. But after 4 to 6 weeks of consistent practice, most of my patients report noticeable improvement. Stronger erections, better control, and yes, shorter refractory periods. One patient told me he wished he'd known about this 30 years ago. Better late than never, I told him. Medical support when necessary. While everything I've mentioned is fundamental, we can't ignore that some men need direct medical support. In cases of persistent erectile dysfunction, hormonal problems, or vascular damage, there are effective treatments a urologist can recommend. From medications that improve erectile response to hormone therapies or specific procedures. The important thing is not to stay silent or resign yourself to frustration. Consulting with a specialist is an act of courage and the key to finding safe and lasting solutions. Here in Canada, we're fortunate to have good healthcare coverage. If you're struggling, talk to your family doctor. Get a referral to a urologist. There's absolutely no shame in it. In fact, it's one of the smartest things you can do for your health and your relationship. I want to address something specific for those of you who are in your 50s, 60s, or beyond. Your bodies work differently now than they did at 30, and that's not a failure. That's biology. But here's what I want you to know. With the right approach, you can absolutely have a satisfying, intimate life that includes multiple rounds if that's what you want. For men over 50, I typically recommend starting with hormone testing. Testosterone naturally declines with age, but if it's dropped significantly, hormone replacement therapy might be an option worth discussing. Beyond that, be patient with yourself. Your refractory period might be 40 minutes instead of 5. That's okay. Use that time for connection, conversation, physical closeness that isn't focused on penetration. Intimacy is so much more than erections. I had a patient in his mid-60s who came in feeling defeated. He said he hadn't been able to go twice in probably 15 years. We worked on the exercise routine, adjusted his diet, addressed his sleep apnea, which was affecting his testosterone, and taught him the pelvic floor exercises. 4 months later, he came back grinning. He said, "Dr. Whitman, I didn't think it was possible at my age." I told him what I'm telling you now. It's possible. It takes work, it takes consistency, but it's possible. Let me give you a 30-day action plan. You can start right now. Week 1, focus on movement and sleep. Get 30 minutes of activity daily, even if it's just walking. Prioritize getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That's it. Don't worry about everything else yet. Just movement and sleep. Week 2, keep up the movement and sleep, but now add in the dietary changes. Start incorporating those fatty fish, nuts, and leafy greens. Week 3, continue everything from weeks 1 and 2 and begin your Kegel exercises, 3 sets daily. Week 4, evaluate your progress. Have you noticed any changes? More morning erections, easier first erections, better energy? Write it down, track it. This isn't magic. It's not going to transform everything overnight. But if you commit to this for 30 days, you will notice improvements. And those improvements compound. 3 months in, 6 months in, you'll look back and realize how much has changed. Conclusion and final message. Regaining firmness for a second round isn't a myth or a privilege of youth. It's a real possibility for any man who understands how his body works and commits to taking care of it. The refractory period exists and can't be completely eliminated, but it can be minimized with exercise, good nutrition, adequate rest, stress control, mental stimulation, and pelvic floor strengthening. I want you to take this message with you. Your intimate life doesn't have to be limited to a single attempt. With discipline, knowledge, and when necessary, medical support, you can be firm whenever you want, providing confidence, satisfaction, and fulfillment for both you and your partner. It's not about the number of years you have. It's about quality of life. And in male intimate health, quality is built day by day with small habits that transform your body and your mind. I'm Dr. Claire Whitman. I've been a urologist for over 20 years, and my mission is to accompany you on this path to recovering your vitality and confidence. Now, I want to hear from you. What strategies have you tried to regain firmness for a second encounter? Have you noticed changes with age? I invite you to leave your experience in the comments, because talking about these topics as a community is a way to break taboos and grow together. Take care of yourselves and remember your health matters at every age.